Today is May 1st, 2013, and I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube about ostomies and dealing with them, trying to prepare myself for surgery tomorrow. I'm having an ileostomy done, and my colon's going to be completely removed. So I felt compelled to make a video while I'm really sick and in the hospital and extremely underweight to show the effects of Crohn's and colitis on the body. Everyone I've spoken to who's undergone this procedure basically says that it's transformed their lives, if not saved their lives. And I can tell you in my experience that the last 10 years of dealing with this disease has been pretty terrible. I've had extreme bouts of illness, long periods of hospitalization, side effects of medication, extreme weight loss, and everything that comes with it. The people I've spoken to say, despite how invasive the surgery is, it's way better than the life they had before. So, in a sense, I'm excited and looking forward to that. Not having to take medications anymore, or having the anxiety of needing to know where the nearest washroom is all the time, and all that sort of stuff. So, not being able to drink alcohol at social functions and explaining that to people is always difficult. Yeah, it's been pretty difficult, and I'll explain more of that. My story goes something like this. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I was 16. I actually diagnosed myself with colitis when I was 15. I went to the doctor, and she told me it was probably just hemorrhoids and prescribed me medication for that. And I was relieved to hear that and wanted to believe her, obviously, because it's such a serious illness to deal with. So, time went by, and my senior year at school started, and things were getting worse gradually. I was taking a lot of Tylenol for my headaches, which were due to anemia and the blood loss. So, without much parental supervision, I was taking way more than I should have, and I remember one day at school, I was in the bathroom, and at this time I was using the bathroom quite frequently, and I was about to be late for class, so I started running up the stairs, and I didn't make it 5 or 10 steps before my brain just felt like it was going to explode, and my legs collapsed under me, and I knew at that point I had to go home because something was seriously wrong. So when I got home, I told my dad about it, and he was kind of a jerk, and that's a whole other story, but eventually I took some time off and went and stayed with my mom, and things progressively got worse over the days, and eventually I needed to go to the emergency room, and I was hospitalized after my birthday, my 17th birthday, and my mom fought with this doctor, the only gastroenterologist in the area, to take me on as a patient, and thankfully she was able to convince him because my form of the disease is pancolitis, which means it affects my entire colon. And it was very serious at this point. I had lost a lot of weight, I was bleeding a lot, food was going out the same as it was going in, and so he did a colonoscopy and diagnosed me with ulcerative colitis and put me in a hospital bed. He gave me two blood transfusions and put me on TPN. I'm actually on TPN right now. This tube going into an artery, and it's been feeding me from that bag of delicious white stuff, and that's just saline behind it to keep me hydrated. And TPN is basically a nutritional supplement and to bypass the digestive tract and allow it to rest, which I think is great because the first time around it worked very well for me. I was on it for a couple weeks, and I remember it being such a strange sensation to feel full with an empty stomach, and not be able to eat or drink anything. It was really weird. So 2 weeks went by, and that allowed the blood in my colon to clot and heal over, I suppose, while the medications were working. And a few days later, I was able to leave the hospital, which was really nice because it was the day before Christmas, and I got to spend it with my family. In the beginning, my flare-ups were more frequent. I had one about 6 months after I was out of the hospital, and another year later, and after that, 2 years later. The longest period of remission I had was about 4 years long, and that was most recently when I lived in Montreal. I lived in Montreal for 3 years. And the medical system works a little differently over there. Coming from British Columbia, I had a hard time finding doctors. It would take me about 10 months to find a GP, and over a year to see a gastroenterologist. So I put myself on those lists and was seeing clinic doctors through my university, and they were always rotating different people. One of them I met said to me, you know, if you want to get off your medications, this is all you have to do. And he gave me this sort of diet to follow. And at that point, I was saying to myself, yeah, I'm pretty healthy, and I wanted to get off the drugs because I was sick of taking handfuls of pills every day. Thank you, computer. I wanted to get off the drugs because I was taking handfuls of pills every day, and it was literally making me gag. So I didn't think it would really, I needed it really, and if I adhered to this diet, it would be okay. So stupidly, I did that, and symptoms started showing up again about 3 months later. I was enjoying my summer, and I was trying to frantically find a doctor, and I knew that wasn't really possible because of the waiting lists, and it was either go to the hospital and probably be stuck there for a while, and I didn't want to do that because I knew I would be away from my family. So I flew back to BC, and my lease was ending anyways, and I was planning to go home for the Christmas holidays and be back in Montreal for the following semester in January. But that didn't happen because I got really sick. Not at first, but it was getting worse slowly, and my doctor put me on prednisone. I thought that would work, but I guess because I went off all these drugs that my tolerance was much higher for them, and it wasn't really working. So it took a while to convince them that I needed more intervention. I was hospitalized in Abbotsford. It's a new hospital. It was pretty, I think it's 3 years old now, but it was new when I got there, and I lived there for 2 months, just over 8 weeks, and because I wasn't responding to conventional treatments, they eventually put me on Remicade, and within 10 hours of getting my first dose, I had relief of my symptoms. It was a miracle drug. It's pretty cool, but I had to be on that go back to the hospital for an infusion every 8 weeks, and at first it wasn't really working, so my doctor upped my dosage from 2 vials to 3, and that was adequate for my weight at the time, and it was working for a bit, and then I would gradually, near the end of the 8-week period, start getting symptoms again. So I was never really fully in remission the last 2 years. So kind of just been waiting around for it to get better, but it wasn't. So last February, just this recent February, at the beginning I had an unusual amount of pain on my lower left side and an unusual amount of bleeding following my Remicade infusions. So I went to my doctor, and he put me on some antibiotics, and that stopped the bleeding shortly after, which was great. And but the pain was still there, And I was trying to convince him to, do some more testing, but he was like, oh, it's probably just IBD, you might just be constipated, take some Metamucil. And my doctors are like this, and that's why I'm changing them, because they've always sort of written off my pain and anything I had to say. They just never really listened. So eventually I convinced him to, he sent me for a CT scan. I went for that, and right after I was in so much pain. I was like dolled over, and I was like, if this is IBD, like I need some painkillers. And I went back to my doctor, and he was like, I'm not going to prescribe you anything. I think you should go to the hospital. And so I went to emergency, the Abbotsford Hospital again. This was like February, or beginning of March, yeah. And I was in Abbotsford Hospital for a week and a half before they did a bunch of testing. I had a scope done. I had another CT scan. I had a couple X-rays, and the testing proved that I had an abscess. And because they don't have very good surgeons in Abbotsford, they shipped me here to St. Paul's in Vancouver, where apparently the best surgeons in Canada are. So that's why I'm here. And I was just told I was going to have an abscess removed, and I was really freaked out at first when they told me, they re-diagnosed me with Crohn's, because they said, colitis patients don't get abscesses or fistulas or strictures, so that's what was happening to me. And hopefully, because my condition has only been localized to that one area the last 10 years, they call it Crohn's colitis, and they don't think it's, because it's never manifested anywhere else in my digestive tract, they don't think it ever will. So essentially taking out my colon should cure me of my disease. And yeah, so here I sit, waiting to have my stomach cut open and gutted, guts coming out. And it's kind of scary, but I would love to keep you posted, and I would love to show you what I look like when I'm not 35 pounds underweight. See, this is my drain that I have for my abscess. It's been here for a while, and like nothing's coming out, and that is where they plan on putting my stoma. And goodbye, beautiful stomach. Never see you again after tomorrow. And yeah, so hopefully in a year they can reverse the surgery and have it all internalized again. But I'm not really thinking about that yet, because I don't want to get my hopes up. Yeah, that's it, and I will keep you posted on my life with Crohn's colitis. Thanks for watching, and I hope if you are dealing with this that I can answer any questions you have, or try to at least, because I've been dealing with this for a very long time. And yeah, hopefully things get better, and I will make some more videos, I think, because it's been really inspiring to watch these young girls and guys that are dealing with this, just putting themselves out there. And at first I really felt like I was going to, not tell anyone about it and hide it. But after meeting some pretty cool people, I feel like it shouldn't be something I'm embarrassed about, because I have been all this time dealing with my disease. So I'm going to try to do much more positive things now. So yeah, again, thanks for watching, and see you soon.